What's happening, biology? Mrs. Cozen, and this is Unit 3, Video 2B, and this is Eukaryotic Organelles Continued. I turned the webcam on so you guys could see. This is my partner as I'm recording this video for you. She is my kitty cat, and she tries to join me in all the videos. She crawls right up in my lap every time that I try to record a video for you guys, and it's just really funny to me that she's always trying to join me, so I just wanted to show her to you guys there. Okay, so eukaryotic cells, organelles continued, okay? We ended last time with the Golgi body. That was, remember, if the school were a cell, that would be like your counselors. It tells the proteins where they need to go in your cell, okay? Heads them, sends them in the right direction. Chloroplasts, only in plant cells. Circle that big time, only in plant cells. This is what makes plant cells green. We're going to talk about these in a lot more detail in your next unit, which is photosynthesis, okay? And all you guys need to know, chloroplasts, their job is to perform photosynthesis. They've got chlorophyll in them. Now this picture right here, I love to use this one. It's not an actual picture, it's an artist rendition of a chloroplast, but I just think it's a really beautiful representation of it. You can see these little things, they look like stacks of coins or little pancakes. That's where the chlorophyll is and where photosynthesis actually happens. Only in plant cells. We don't get to photosynthesize, unfortunately. We're not green. Vacuoles. Vacuoles you can find in plant and animal cells, okay? So please add that to your notes, okay? You can find them in plant and animal cells. It can store water, other materials like salts, other minerals. It's much, 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 much bigger in a plant cell than it is in an animal cell. The reason is plants can't just get up and go get water when they need to get it. They have to store water for the opposite of a rainy day, I guess. They have to store water, so they have really, really huge vacuoles. Some plant cells, the vacuole takes up 50% of the space. And the vacuole is the reason why sometimes plants, when they're really dry, they'll wilt. And then when their vacuoles get filled back up with water after you water them, they will perk back up again, okay? Because it's just like a balloon. Like when the balloon is not full of air, it kind of like wilts down. And then when it's full, it or you could think of it as a water balloon. When it's full, it's completely full. There's no extra space in it. So that's how vacuoles work in plants, okay? Much, much bigger in plant cells, but it can be in plant and animal cells. I think on your cell coloring sheet that you're working on, I don't think that it shows a vacuole in your animal cell. I'm not exactly sure. Animals have a smaller vacuole because most animals can get up and move toward a water source. So they don't have to store as much water as plants do. Mitochondria in all cells. Mitochondria are really interesting. They're going to be a part of something we talk about later on called the endosymbiotic theory. They are their own little kind of cell working within a cell. Okay, they are the powerhouse of your cell. They are the battery of your cell. Okay, so if the spool is a cell, think of the mitochondria as it's something that comes in and it processes energy. So if the spool is a cell, think of the mitochondria as the lunch ladies. They take in raw material and then they turn it into lunch for you. And then going back, I forgot to do the chloroplasts. Chloroplasts you can think of also as like the lunch ladies in the plant cell. Okay, they would be, chloroplast takes in materials and processes it as energy for the plants. And if the school were a cell, you could think of the vacuoles as our pools. I know that we don't have a pool at our school, but North Middle has one, so think of it like the pool that's on our complex. Store in our water. All right, so mitochondria, powerhouse of the cell, it's like a little battery, takes in materials, processes it, puts out energy that we need. We can find them in plant and animal cells, and they're really cool looking too. They have a membrane on the outside. They act almost just like a little bacteria, and then they have this inner layer of membranes that folds in on itself that help it to complete all the really complex chemical reactions that it has to go through. Lysosomes, the suicide sac, okay? Lysosomes are the cleanup crew of your cell. So think of if the school is a cell, think of the lysosomes as like the cleaning crew or the custodians in your cell. What happens with lysosomes is they clean up organelles that have died within the cell and other sort of trash that needs to leave. So it happens, if you look at this is your whole cell, and we have an organelle here that's no longer working. Maybe it's a mitochondria that stopped working. or Golgi body, your cells can reproduce those. And what happens is they're drawn straight to the lysosome. And the lysosome wraps itself around that damaged organelle just like a garbage bag, and then it attaches to the outer layer, the cell membrane, and it releases that, oops, and it releases that sort of trashed organelle out into the space between cells so that it can be removed by the body. Okay, here you can see another one. We've got some material that was coming into the cell. It's used. Lysosomes fuse with it. Oh, I'm so sorry, you guys. Keep going back and forth. Lysosomes fuse with what's left over from it, and then it releases it out into the cell. So the lysosome suicide sac. They call it a suicide sac because it's almost like when an organelle is on its last leg, it heads straight for the lysosome. All right, cytoskeleton supports the cell, helps it keep its shape. We have the cell wall in plant cells that do that for us. And another thing that's in cells is this thing called a cytoskeleton. We call them microtubules. They look like little straws, or almost like some of them look like churros, if you guys know what a churro looks like. And they help the cell to not just stay completely flat. Think of this as the walls that support the inside of our school. If the school is a cell, the cytoskeleton would be like the inside walls. Okay? And they just keep the cell from collapsing on itself. All right, here's my silly little comic about cells. Okay, here's a nucleus. Everyone do what I say. Mitochondria, ha ha ha, no. You can learn later that mitochondria has some really specific jobs in it. It acts just like its own little bacterial cell, kind of. Lysosome says, everything I touch, I destroy. Vacuole, I feel quite fulfilled. Haha. Golgi says, I need a break, because the Golgi body's always working, processing proteins. And the endoplasmic reticulum says, you guys, I have so much work to do, because the ER is always processing our lipids and our proteins. Haha. You're welcome. All right, now plants versus animal cells. You guys get a chance to do this in your cell coloring as well. But just a quick peek to see the differences. We've got the plant cell is usually a square sort of a shape. It has to be because plants don't have a skeleton to support themselves, so they have the cells act like little bricks. Your animal cell is rounder. Your plant cell has chloroplasts where the animal cell does not. Your plant cell has a larger vacuole, and your animal cell is going to have centrioles. Here they're called centrosomes, but the centrioles that help it to divide, and plants don't have those. They both have a cell membrane. They both have endoplasmic reticulum, nucleus. They both have a vacuole. They both have lysosomes. They both have ribosomes. They both have mitochondria. They both have Golgi body. But big difference is cell wall here. Plant has a chloroplast. Plant has a bigger vacuole. Plant does not have centrioles. All right, cool. And if you guys could go ahead and copy this down, pretty please. Okay. Make sure you write all that, and you're going to need to know that for your quiz and your upcoming test. And that's it. You guys are done with Unit 3, Segment 2B. You're done with eukaryotic organelles. Nice work.